Yes. Have a little faith in the Christ within you. It's impossible really to have faith in something that you're not familiar with, that's something that's outside of you. It has to be something that's within your realm of consciousness. And although you cannot really understand what that means conceptually, if it's within you, you can experience that. It's not a mystery anymore. And so today we're going to talk about the greater works. The greater works that Jesus, the Master Yeshua, was talking about when he said, greater works than these will you do, because I'm going to the Father. See, he wasn't saying, I'm going to get crucified and I'm going to die. He said, no, I'm returning to source. And didn't matter if there was a resurrection or not, if you believe that whatever the next step is in the evolution of someone who's coming into their spiritual awareness, the evolution of that is returning to source. Returning to Father, Mother, whatever you want to call it. He knew that's what was happening. It didn't matter how that was occurring. We've let's say almost always misinterpreted this story. And so today I've come to help us to remember to reinterpret the story in spiritual terms. The most surprising statement that I ever heard from the Master Jesus was, greater works than I am doing will you do. I grew up Catholic, and I heard all the stories of the miracles, of feeding the 5,000, of calming the sea. Now, have you ever been out on you guys that own boats? Have you ever been out in a really rough day? And boy, you would love to be able to do that, wouldn't you? Just calm the sea with your energy. Or walk on the water when your skiff is getting away from you. But all of the works that I heard, growing up, all the miracles, not to mention the resurrection. And then all of a sudden, I'm a teenager and I'm reading the Gospel of John, and he says, greater things than I have done are you going to do. And I'm like, holy mackerel, this is great. I don't know what I've been doing, but I got some greater works to do. I have some amazing things to do. All of a sudden, my whole life changed. My spirit changed. Completely. I started to experience miracles when I was a teenager. And this was an indication that that's what's supposed to be happening. I've told a lot of you guys about some of my miracles, but you've had them too. I told you about finding my friend's son in the forest when he was lost for several hours, 12, 13 hours. And being healed from drug addiction when I was younger, when I was a teenager, drinking, smoking. I couldn't even eat meat. When I was healed of all of that. My system said, you are going to be a bearer of light, so you need to take care of this vessel. You need to be conscious about everything that you do, everything you say, everything you think. Everything you take in, not just your food and drink, but your thoughts. The movies you watch, the people you talk to, the books you read, the things you watch on TV, the conversations you have. How do you react to people? How are you reacting to the environment? What is your relationship to the plants and the animals? How do you feel when you take a breath of air? Are you grateful for that breath of air? Are you grateful for that drink of water? Are you grateful that God is in everything? Every single thing? This is what began to happen to me. I remember a time when I was about 15, I think, and I had this revelation, this miracle experience drinking a glass of orange juice. I felt it going into my body. All the vitamin C, all the sunshine. I literally felt the sunshine going into my body. I felt like it filled up every part of me. Every cell of my body was alive with this glass of orange juice. And I went into the other room and I tried to explain it to my mom. I had a miracle, I told her. She said, really? What was your miracle? This glass of orange juice I just drank. And I was like, don't you feel that when you drink it? She said, no. So don't try to explain your miracles to anybody. Most likely they're not going to understand. But remember that you're having that experience. It's precious. Hold it in your heart and in your mind because it's precious. Each and every day we have so many miracles, so many greater works are occurring through us and we don't even recognize it. So the works, characterized by Jesus, the type of miracles that he performed, are characterized by a majority of Christians as the thing that set him apart from everybody else, instead of making him like everyone else. It set him apart, right? He's the only one that could do that. And quite frankly, once I read that in the Bible, I said, they're not really teaching the whole Bible. They're not really teaching, what I'm reading. What about this part? And someone said, well, they kind of left that in there because they didn't understand it. So we're lucky they left some things in there. Now, how could he tell his followers that if you believe in me, that the works I'm doing, you're going to do great. You're going to do these works too, and greater works. You're going to heal the sick. You're going to raise the dead. And I can remember a lot of times praying for others and having them come back and witness that they were healed of whatever it was, cancer or AIDS or even the common cold. One woman had terrible back troubles all her life. And she came to one of our Course in Miracles sessions. And, I actually was moved to just hit her in the lower back and say, hey, how you doing? Like, get the energy going up. And from that day forward, something happened to her, and she never had a backache after that. The rest of her life. Really, years later, it was a change of consciousness in that moment that, yes, I can straighten up. I've done the same thing. Because I have a tendency to like to throw my back out. I don't know why. I still like to do crazy things like I'm 18 years old. And it's wonderful. But you know what? There's this voice in me that straightens me up. And that voice is like the Christ within that's always talking to you. It's always talking to you in every situation and every circumstance throughout the day. It's always straightening us up, keeping us in alignment, in the flow. Always. Always. If we can only have faith in that one that's inside of us. Now, where am I going with this? Where I'm going with this is that it's been a long, long time since a majority of people accepted the fact that they are divine. And even you who are here today, who may have been in unity for a long time, who may have been in other spiritual paths for a long, long time, might still find it hard to believe that you are divine or have the same divinity as someone like Jesus. Because we have made an idol out of that person. We have built up this image. Instead of identifying with him, we began to worship the idol, the image that made him so much greater than everybody else, that only he is divine. Only he is God. And so it becomes even blasphemous to say we are God. In the I don't want to call it normal society because it's not normal. Let's call it the accepted viewpoint of modern society. In the accepted viewpoint of modern society, saying that you are God is blasphemous, is crazy, and you shouldn't be talking like that. But today we're going to explore the meaning of the greater works. And perhaps more importantly, what does that mean for us? How can we action that in today's world, in our life? How can we use it for direction in individual spiritual evolution? Because that's what it's all about, I believe. Individual spiritual evolution leads to collective spiritual evolution. We're never going to do it if we're not doing it ourselves. The world's not going to be able to do it because it's energetic. If I try to explain my experiences, which I try every Sunday, what happens is that if you haven't had similar experiences or you don't follow along the same spiritual path or philosophy that I do, I'm going to run into something called cognitive dissonance, which means you are going to vehemently oppose what I'm telling you. Even if it's true, even if there's evidence of it, even if it's written down, even if that's been experienced by many others, if you have an opposite viewpoint and you believe it like so fully, you will not accept the information that's coming to you. Cognitive dissonance means you're blocking that information. Even if, this is interesting, even if inside you know it's true. Even if somewhere in your mind you absolutely know it's true, you're going to block it out. You're going to block it out because you've based your survival on believing this other thing. It's a reptilian brain. It's the amygdala. It starts firing off and you start defending yourself against all opposition, even if it's the truth. If it opposes your belief system, you're going to defend yourself from it. Because you truly believe in your heart that if you hold on to these limited concepts, that's what's going to save you. That's what's going to keep you safe. It's just the opposite. It's what's killing you. It's like the alcoholic. He thinks that drink is what's going to save me. That drink is my happiness. That drink. And it's the thing that's killing you. It's like the drug addict. The only thing that you want and need and have to have is the one thing that's absolutely killing you. That's addiction. And so the addictive mind also does the same thing with religious concepts, with spiritual concepts, with sociological concepts, with political concepts. You get it in your brain that this is so, and even if you have evidence that it's not, you go... It's cognitive dissonance. You block everything else out. So we have great evidence that Jesus came to teach our own divinity, yours and mine. That God is in you as much as it's in me. That God is in you as much as it was in Jesus. God is in you as much as it was in Buddha. God is in you as much as it is in your German Shepherd. God is in you. Where's Martha? As much as it is in that tree and in that flower and in that ocean. God is in you as much as it is in anything in the universe. And this is what Jesus was saying in John, the Gospel of John, 14:12. Now the Council of Nicaea looks back on this and wishes they had cut that out of the Bible. Truly I say unto you, he that believes in me and the works that I do, he's going to do those works. She's going to do those works as well. And greater works than these will you do. Greater works. That means that not only are you divine in nature, but that you are meant to surpass your teacher. You are meant to surpass, to become the master yourself, to do greater works. That's amazing coming from somebody that raised the dead. Right? That's amazing from somebody that heals the blind person. That's amazing from somebody that can turn water into wine. We turn wine into water around here, by the way. And instead of walking on water, we try to walk in peace with our brothers and sisters. According to Thich Nhat Hanh, that's a greater miracle. Walking on earth in peace. We don't need any more people that can walk on the water. We need people that can walk beside each other in peace. Amen. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. 1 John, not 1 John, the Gospel of John, 14. I know what I need for this. Let not your heart be troubled. You believe in God, you believe in the source of the universe. Believe also in me, the Christ within. Believe in yourself. In my Father's house, in the house of higher consciousness, there are many mansions. If it were not so, I would have told you. I go to prepare a place for you. He's not going to prepare a physical place called heaven. He's preparing a place in your consciousness to receive and accept your own divinity. I go and prepare a place for you. And I will come again and receive you unto myself, so that where I am, you may be also. Now, this has been misinterpreted that the guy's coming back. The physical person is coming back. If he did, we probably, as we saw a couple of weeks ago, we probably wouldn't recognize him. This is a person of color. It's not the person coming back. It's the consciousness of Jesus, of Yeshua. Which means Joshua, by the way. I don't know how we got Jesus out of that, but that's okay. You know who I'm talking about. It's that guy from the Middle East. With the dark skin and the curly hair. And the dark eyes. And the miracle mind. And the miracle loving heart. And the healing hands. And the hands and the feet and the words of God. Come to show you that your hands and your feet are meant to be God's hands and feet. Nothing else. Or as Dr. Jess would say, hands and fingers. I'm the hands and fingers of God. And so he says, I'll come to you so that where I am, you may be also. Didn't say, I'm going to come back into this illusion of limitation. He says, I'm going to come back to you so that where I am in my recognition of my wholeness, you will be also. I'm not coming back here. I'm coming back to a place that you can join me. And that's our higher consciousness, the thing we share. I'm not coming back to limitation. Look what happened to me last time. You got to be crazy to think I'm coming back here. So I love Thomas. Thomas then says to him, Lord, we don't know where you're going. How can we know the way? How can we know how to get to where you are? And he just says to him, I am the way, the truth, and the life. And some wonderful mystics have said, no, in Aramaic, if you go back and you want to retranslate that, there's one word you could add in there appropriately. I am is the way. Not I am the person. Not I am the ego. I am the Jesus separate from you, the way. That's how we interpret it. That's how we made it into a big idol. No, I am is the way. The I am that I am. The truth of you, the God in you, the Christ in you, the light in you is the way. The truth and the life. That's the I am. The great I am. I am is the way. So it's just amazing. It goes on, but it ends up at the place where he says, all right, listen, I've been telling you a lot of things. Some of you believe me, some of you don't. It doesn't matter. But if you believe me and the works that I'm doing, because we always want evidence, right? So if you believe the works I'm doing, then you will do the works too. And greater works than these will you do, and that's how you will know the Father. That's how you will know who you are. Right? By doing it yourself. That's how you know. So when he talks about the Father, he's talking about the source of all life. He's talking about what? The intelligence of the universe, perhaps? Universal mind? The substance? Divine substance, perhaps? The source of all things? How the substance or the energy gets manifest into God's stuff. Here, divine substance. Everything is divine. Eternal love, perhaps. That's the Father, Mother, God. Eternal love. See, we have this tendency to make it so small. When you speak the word God, you have this image in your mind that may be coming from your embedded theology. But think of all these things. Is it the ground of being, perhaps? Right? The environment, spiritual environment in which we live, move, and have our being. That's the ground of being. The collective spiritual consciousness. Collective spiritual consciousness. All the spiritual consciousness as the ocean of consciousness that it is. So however we attempt to define Father, Mother, God, we can be assured that Jesus was referring to all this and much more. See, you got to remember, he was a practicing Jew. And they believed that Father is the creator of the universe, that God is spirit. They that worship God must worship him in what? Spirit, in truth. You have to be in your spirit in order to connect or worship the Father, the Mother, God. The birther. That's one of the ways it's been translated in Aramaic. The birther of all consciousness. The birther of all things. That's more of a feminine view, feminine aspect. The Mother God, the birther of creation. Anyway, they called God Yahweh. Yahweh was the name that could not be uttered. It was considered the name of all things. It cannot be spoken. It was a sound, Yahweh. It was something you said in your prayers. It was something that you held in your consciousness. It wasn't something you ran around the streets yelling at people. God is Yahweh. Sounds like a cheer for Team Yahweh. But it wasn't like that. Yahweh is sacred because God cannot be named. I wrote a whole paper in seminary about this, that God has no name. And perhaps the name of God will end up being your name. Because that's the only place you can experience it, is in your own consciousness. It's not out there. That's why you can't define it. It's not out there because, according to quantum science, there's no out there out there. It's all in here. It's all in your consciousness. There's nothing separate from you. That's why I always say within us and all around us. Now, I'm glad that we have this particular group of people here today because you are very accepting of my long-winded messages. I not only have the Bible, I got the 5 principles. Now, we are coming up to our class, an encounter with the 5 principles. So I've been reading a little more, going back and reviewing some of what Alan Davenport wrote. And it's just fantastic, wonderful, thoughtful, critical thinking about our spiritual path, Christianity, Jesus, and and new thought and unity ways of thinking. 5 principles are the foundation of unity thought. So the reason I brought this is that the idea that we are divine in nature was the primary demonstration of Jesus. He never intended for us to worship him as God, but to recognize that God is within us as well. I want to read you a little bit of how we kind of got to where we are. This is from the second principle. And I love that at the top of the page it says, "You are God." The second principle says there's a spark of divinity in everyone, the Christ light. That it's in everyone. And if God is inherently good, then so are we inherently good and inherently God. That's what I say. The belief that Jesus demonstrated the potential for all was widely understood in the years between his earthly ministry and the development of the early church. But with practical and political pressures intruding from all sides, the church became sharply divided about who Jesus was and what his life meant. His teaching that you are the light of the world competed with the idea that Jesus and only Jesus was divine. The interpretation of Jesus' life as evidence of our human potential was officially rejected when the first uniform Christian doctrine was decreed by the Council of Nicaea around the year 325, 4th century. Was officially denied. The official doctrine of the Christians became that Jesus and only Jesus was divine, and you don't even have the potential to be divine. Holy mackerel! Until when? Until New Thought. Until right now, perhaps, you're understanding that you too at least have the potential. And if you have the potential, then it's already within you and you are divine. So it's up to you to start to activate and live up to your potential as a divine being. You are a divine being. You're not just human being, you're a divine being. How many of you believe that? They got 2 hands on one person over there. You're divine. You are. You're not who you thought you were. You're a divine being. 100%. Everything else will fall away from your consciousness. All of that judgment of yourself. Intense self-compassion will come to you when you realize that you have a mission here that was as great as Jesus' mission. You do. Right there, sitting right there. Your mission is just as important as Yeshua. I'm telling you, any one of you, I don't care who you are or how you've determined your role is in this world, your mission is just as important because you're a unique expression of God. No one else can do it like you. No one else can represent God the way you do. And you're doing a good job. Just remember, you have a lot of support. There are a lot of us who say, okay, I'm going to let the Christ within me guide me now in my life. Everything else is unimportant. I will no longer be guided by fear. I will be guided by love from here on in. Let's say that. I will no longer be guided by fear. I will be guided by love from here on in. From this day forward. Say that. This day forward, I will let love guide me. I will let love guide me. Thank you. Awesome, you guys. See, because there have been Christian mystics throughout the ages that have continued to experience the intimate oneness with the divine that Jesus had and that he called us to discover within ourselves. There have been Christian mystics. And I don't know, I look like a normal person, but I'm going to have to declare myself as one of them. Because I am declaring that we are divine. I am studying the fact that we are divine. I am dedicating my life to the idea that we are divine. I am dedicating and have dedicated my life to discovering what those greater works are and allowing them to be worked through me. So if that doesn't qualify me as a Christian mystic, I don't know what does. Yeah, and guess what? So are you, or you wouldn't be sitting here. No, I'm just a guitar player. No, you're not. No. He's a Christian mystic. He turns, now this is a very unique gift that both Jack and Oriana have. They turn popular 60s, 70s, 80s songs into spiritual experiences. Those songs that change your life. I'm telling you, each and every one. And that is a unique gift. And I think you all have such incredible gifts to offer. And so you're in the right place. I'm looking at Dolores. I'm peeking around here at Dolores because she's one of the more quiet people that we have, but she's the volunteer of the year for 2022. And I've been witness to her transformation and how she expresses God in everything that she does. And I'm so grateful for that because it's in such little and wonderful, seemingly little, everyday interactions, everyday ways. Preparing the food, taking care of the elderly, taking care of people, grooming a horse once a week. Doing these wonderful things and a lot of wonderful organization around unity without ever seeking recognition. That's why we recognized you. She never seeks recognition for it. She says, I'm only doing what's going to make me happy. Amen. But guess what? In the process, she's making everyone around her happy. It's incredible. Thank you. And that's just a very simple demonstration of how you can do the greater works that you're called to do. Just be yourself. Just be determined that you're going to serve from your heart, that you're going to teach only love because that's what you are, and that you're going to do only what makes you happy. You're going to discover what makes you happy is helping others, is healing others, is joining with others, is awakening to the truth of who you are, is feeling peace in everything that you do. You're going to discover what makes you happy is doing the greater works. You're going to discover what makes you happy is being the Christ that you were meant to be. It's truly being God's hands and fingers and voice and walking in the Spirit. You're going to discover that God is within all of us. That idea that God is within all of us is what you have to share with the world. It's a powerful idea. It's the most powerful idea there is. It's going to undo all the separation. It's going to stop and end all the war. It's going to end the hunger and every other possible problem that you think humanity has. I also, sometimes get caught up in the drama of humanity. But I then realize I'm here to do the greater works. I'm here to demonstrate that the separation does not exist in the mind of God and therefore has no place in my consciousness. And I'm inviting you to take that same step with me. I'm inviting you to take that same step. People who insist that humans are divine are often accused of thinking they are God. And the secret is, we are. I love you guys. Be blessed. Be a blessing.
You have been watching the message from our Sunday celebration service here at Unity on Cape Cod, providing a positive path for spiritual living. Please join us every Sunday morning at 10 a.m. at 147 Walton Ave, Hyannis, Mass., and visit us online at unityoncapecod.org. This video was made possible in part through a grant from Unity Worldwide Ministries and the Templeton Foundation.